Okay, this is Juicy. Former gubernatorial candidate John Stewart, who I've had on my show, recently appeared on Richard Dolan, and you were talking about the alien interview that I've discussed before and shown the video of. And anyway, he provides a document, a letter sent to him. And in that document, in that letter, were the names of various people involved in that alien interview. Well, those names were redacted, but people on Twitter have unredacted those names. So let's talk about it. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like, please subscribe, share on social media, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, I'll start off with John Stewart talking about the letter and showing the letter.
Forwarded, if that's a word, he had forwarded me an email from a person, I believe, who was in the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, who we have found out has run the alien interrogation retention program since the 60s when they took it over from the Air Force and the CIA. That's a fact. And he sent me this. Now, I was not looking at a DIA document. I was obviously looking at a man retyping the information from a report in the DIA about this, and they didn't call it a theft, a smuggled film. They called it an unauthorized viewing. Very militarist. I could never, if I was hoaxing this or what I'm telling you was a lie, I could never think of that. An unauthorized viewing. In this internal briefing from the DIA sent to me by someone who worked with the DIA years back, he must have, from his contact, it said basically the time, date, who was in the viewing gallery watching this, which is called a thought projection interview, the facility that it was, what type of alien being ET this was, how the film was smuggled out of this top secret facility, and it wasn't S4, as Victor said. It was a facility called S2 Alpha, and we have the satellite photo of it. S2 Alpha. S2 Alpha is the building on top of the ground. It's got administration, and it's got the AHC beneath it, which is, there it is.
That's it.
That is the entrance to the alien housing complex, S2 Alpha, the S2 Annex. Folks, no one in ufology is going to bring you this. I have brought you this. You go down that ramp, you turn to the left, a guard comes out, he hooks up an exhaust to your car, you go in and exchange badges. Now beneath S2 Alpha is the AHC, the Alien Housing Complex. This is what I was told. This is not telling you that I have been there and I can validate the veracity of this. The Alien Housing Complex, this is where extraterrestrials were held, were retained for Project Aquarius, which was the Alien Retention and Interrogation Program. That was the unofficial name of those in the program, the Alien Interrogation and Retention Program.
Is that related to this document? And how this you sent me? I have a document here with a bunch of blacked out names. Is it right? Should I show that here, or is it too soon?
You can show that with the blacked out, the redacted names. So this is which I was I want to be very clear on this so the keyboard warriors can't run loose. And just forgive me about saying that. This is my retyping of the email that was retyped by someone from the DIA. Do you understand what we're trying to do here? We are trying to do, separate the separation from the DIA by using different fonts. So I was instructed that I could show redacted versions of this, but I had to retype it. So I just want to be clear on that.
Okay.
But this is basically the way it came to me from the DIA to my contact. And so this happened on April 22nd, 1991, 3:15 in the afternoon. This was a gray, an other gray, they called it, from the Tau Ceti star system. This was a haploid, which is a being that only has one sexual chromosome. We human beings are diploids. We have two sexual chromosomes. I thank the University of Chicago for helping me. They're a microbiologist helped me with that. Gave the list of the men in the room, which I will go over. because like a good journalist, I've tried to vet every one of them, made contact with a couple, very shocking information. And it also said that the questions were being asked was about an object in the Indian Ocean, and that it also.
Okay, I'm not going to play the whole interview, but it's a fascinating interview, and I highly recommend you check it out on Richard Dolan's channel, and I'll link to it below. Hats off to Richard Dolan and to John Stewart for this fascinating information. I'm a little annoyed with John for not providing this document when I interviewed him a month or two ago. But hats off to him for providing it on Richard's show, and I love it. And now let's go to the keyboard warriors, as John says, who have actually decoded these names. So now we know at least some of the people who were there that day when the alien interview was happening. And this is from Richard Giltreich. We're trying to figure out the first admiral on this mid-1990s list from yesterday's Dolan Stewart interview. The first name seems to start with the letter L, and the last seems to start with S and possibly has a G in it. And there you go. They have taken these redacted names that were, not, they could have been redacted a little bit more heavily. And they have gotten some names. And there's at least two names that Richard is confident in: Captain Lowell Jacoby in Naval Intelligence and Dr. Craig McPherson. Fairly confident he was interviewed by LMH Linda Moulton Howe on April 8th, 1995. And yeah, here's some more information. Oh, here's Shoefitz wondering if some of these mentioned in Wilson memo also. That's interesting. Make of this what you will. What does Richard say? Area 51, scientists tell all. Interview with Greg McPherson. There you go. Scientist and former employee of Area 51. Dr. McPherson worked at Area 51 from May 1956 until September 1988. And this information is coming from Bibliotheca Pleiades. So, take that, from what you will. But this is an interview conducted by Linda Moulton Howe. And he says, I served in the U.S. Army from 44 to 46. After discharge, I attended college and eventually obtained a PhD in physics. Let's cut down to the bottom. He says, I don't want my name connected to a story about ETs. Well, too late, McPherson. I saw my first non-conventional device within a few days of being assigned to the ASG. That's the Advanced Studies Group, a very secret group located in the second level of Area 51 Complex 3. The flying device was codenamed Atlas Tank. It was a flying saucer. I worked on specific physics problems associated with this unique design. We had manufactured the AT over a period of 8 years. I was brought into the program during the latter part of the ground testing. We solved most of the unique problems, but we still could not get the AT to fly. Several different propulsion systems were used, but none of them worked. Sometime in 1973, I was given another security clearance. I was moved to another facility within Complex 3. This was a new facility. I was assigned to the ASG Alpha. And I guess that's what John was talking about, Alpha. He was at S2 Alpha. I guess maybe that is ASG. I don't know. Once in the facility, I was given access to another flying saucer. This appeared to be of the same shape as the AT. However, it was codenamed Blue Chariot. Although I did not have access to the interior of the BC, I did observe the outer area of the flying craft. At no time was I told that either of these flying machines were ET related. I worked in the Alpha branch for several months before moving back to ASG. In 1973, a terrible accident occurred at Complex 3 facility. The propulsion system on the BC was activated and an explosion occurred, killing 6 technicians. Actually, it was not an explosion. A bolt or plasma ball came out of the propulsion system and struck the technicians, vaporizing them. The BC was then taken to another facility which was located in a very remote area of Area 51. This area was adjacent to the old above-ground nuclear testing land. Anyway, I'm not going to read the whole interview, but clearly, if this individual, Dr. Craig McPherson, is to be believed, he worked at Area 51 on flying saucers, and apparently also in the alien retention program, where I guess when they have a downed UFO and they retrieve the occupants, they then interrogate them potentially over a period of years. And I guess some of them, maybe most of them, end up passing away. Here is an animation of the Magia Brazil case that I've covered a couple of times on the channel, where there was a UFO battle over Magia Brazil, where the control group came in and shot down at least 2 UFOs and then executed some of the occupants and then hunted others through the jungle. And now that's the information I have. This dramatization has some additional information that I can't verify, that they were the tall whites. Now, I have heard one of the locals who saw these beings and being executed by the military, by the super soldiers from the control group, said they were very tall and human-like. But I don't have any confirmation that it was the tall whites. I believe Uri Geller is saying they are the tall whites. But yes, so this is a dramatization of events that I can't confirm, but that says psychics were brought in. I guess, remote viewers, people that have psychic abilities, because we know that the military and the intelligence agencies do have these people and have been working with them for a long time. And it would make sense that they would use them to contact the beings. Well, according to this video, they brought one in to contact beings that were fleeing in the jungle, and actually able to bring them in somehow. That's, I have serious doubts about the authenticity of this information. But, this is just one example of a crash retrieval bringing in beings. So, again, I'm not saying this is what happened, but yeah, they were brought into the facility and, alive. And presumably they they were either put on ice or kept in the alien retention program. Yeah, and there's some PDF brochure of Dugway Proving Ground that is supposed to have some corroboration of some of this. Anyway, I'll link to the video. But whether the specifics of this particular video are correct or not, clearly there is a UFO crash retrieval program, and they do take beings that are still living, and they may execute others, and they bring them back to some facility or other, possibly this S2 Alpha, as John Stewart talks about. Maybe that's just one of many facilities that they use to interrogate these beings in. So that's the story. That's our information so far, is getting these names. And, whether they were, whether John did a deliberately bad job on the redaction so that we could get those names is unclear. Some people believe that is what is going on. I don't know. But either way, a fascinating story, and yet more information to add to that amazing alien interview, which is looking more and more likely to be legitimate. Yeah, this guy right here, just in case you've forgotten what we're talking about. Really amazing footage, and that again is looking more and more likely to be on the level. So let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. And join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. I would love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, please consider becoming a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate your guys' support. Don't get a t-shirt yet because I'm having some issues with the t-shirt company. But hopefully that will be resolved in a few days, and the merch store will once again be at full strength. But yeah, do consider becoming a channel member. See the link in the description below. And meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos to check out on the channel. And I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.